Coming up on today's show, we're going to talk about some running back targets, actually, and we're going to look at some potential names out there that the Browns could be looking at after missing out on DeAndre Swift. So a report came out. The Browns were in pursuit of DeAndre Swift, and they did not land him. So might we see the Browns go a different direction at this point? I've got 5 names, some through free agency, some through trade, that the Browns could be looking at. We'll get a different tweet up for you guys next year because Brad Steinberg had a tweet about the Browns looking into getting DeAndre Swift, and here it is. For what it's worth, the Browns remain in the market for a backup running back. They've explored plenty of options this offseason, including players like DeAndre Swift. So, with DeAndre Swift to Philly, who could be plan B for Cleveland? I've got some names. I want to run them by you guys. Let's start with the local guy, Kareem Hunt, 27-year-old back who last year looked closer to 30 than 27. It's crazy how when running backs seem to hit a wall, we're like, they are ancient, and then we find out their age on Wikipedia, and he's like, dude is not that old. Like Zeke, not as old as maybe you think he is or you thought he was after the way he ran last year. Now, some background on Kareem Hunt. Career low in rushing average and receiving average last season. It just looked like he lost a step. He did not have a touchdown in the last 10 weeks of the season. Over half of his rushing yards came in the first 5 weeks. Got off to a good start, and this is just true for a lot of NFL players. When the hits start tallying up, players start to slow down in the second half of the season. It's a long year. And for Kareem Hunt, when he hit 27 and he hit week 6, it looked like the blacks and blues were starting to really add up, and he was starting to slow down a little bit as the year progressed. Now, Andrew Berry did not close the door on a reunion with Kareem Hunt. A few weeks ago, he said in a press conference, I don't know that we've necessarily shut the door on anything. Look, we're not playing games until September, so we'll remain open-minded to anything that can help the team. Now, Kareem Hunt last season for the Browns, 468 rushing yards, 210 receiving yards. It was not a glamorous season for Kareem Hunt, and this is not any new information, right? The reason why we're talking about Kareem Hunt is, could they look to add a veteran back in replace of DeAndre Swift if they are not sold on Jerome Ford? And Hunt would definitely be someone at least on their radar. So, I want to know from you guys, do you want Kareem Hunt back in Cleveland? 27 for yes or N for no. Give me your thoughts on Kareem Hunt coming back. I know we've talked about this story a lot, but it's a big story out there right now because the Browns might be looking for a veteran back, and Kareem Hunt would likely be one of the first people they at least look into. Now, I don't know how long they look into him, and if they already have and they moved on from him. Hunt, in my opinion, is probably low on their targets, though, because they saw what he had last season, right? He was right there in front of him, and they don't need more research or more research to be done on Hunt. They know what they saw in 2022. The question is, could he bounce back in 2023? Moving on to our next running back option, former third-round pick Antonio Gibson, 24-year-old from the Washington Commanders. So he was a third-round pick, like I said, by Washington back in 2020, coming out of Memphis. He had like an extremely high touchdown percentage with the Memphis Tigers. Now, he only started 6 games last season after Brian Robinson took over once he recovered from his gunshot wound. Last year was a career low in rushing yards for him, 546 yards, but he does sort of fit the mold of what you'd be looking for in a complementary back to Nick Chubb. He's not a in-between-the-tackles only type of running back. He offers you some versatility in the receiving department as well. Now, his career stats, he did go over 1,000 yards in 2021, and like I said, he's been a good receiving back throughout his 3-year career. So if the Browns are looking for a back who can play on 3rd and 7 when it's an obvious passing situation and Deshaun Watson needs to dump it down and they don't want Nick Chubb getting those types of touches, well, maybe Antonio Gibson could be a better man for the job. Now, you would have to trade for Gibson, and there have been some trade rumors surrounding him with the franchise in Washington appearing to be all in on Brian Robinson. future 6 probably gets the deal done. I mean, he's entering the last year of his rookie contract, so you're not getting a lot of control for him. 2025 6th-round pick, I don't really hate that all that much. Is Antonio Gibson better than Jerome Ford? Yeah. Is he going to be a better football player for this team? Probably. Is he going to be around for a long time? Probably not. That's sort of the pushback, though, if you want an RB for the future, which could be Jerome Ford. So put your GM hat on for me now and let me know. Should the Browns trade for a running back? T for trade or P for pass? Do you want to see this regime give up more draft picks? Or do you want to hold on to the picks that the Browns currently have after giving up a lot for Deshaun Watson? Let's check out our third running back option, and this is Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 24 years old. He is turning out to be not one of the all-time busts because he was picked right at the end of round 1, but he's definitely a bust of a first-round draft pick. The Chiefs did not pick up his fifth-year option. He was a healthy scratch in the Super Bowl. They made him a healthy scratch in favor of 7th-round pick Isaiah Pacheco. Like, that's where he stood in the locker room. I'm going to show you his stats, and then I'll tell you what I think about trading for CEH. But it was not a good year for him last season. Just 10 games, 302 yards. His freshman season, 803 yards, and then he's only gotten worse and worse as his career has gone on. He has been phased out of the Chiefs' offense. I don't even think he's a lock to make their 53-man roster. I mean, how could he? He was a healthy scratch in the last game that they played. If he was not a first-round pick and he was picked in round 4, we would not even be talking about him. He is purely riding the wave of that name notoriety because he was a first-round pick. If he was not, he would just be some random running back who'd probably be cut after this season for KC. So if I had to piece together a trade similar to Antonio Gibson, I think it's another 6th-round pick. Maybe it's a 2024 instead of a 2025 because he does have that first-round status and the Chiefs might want something a bit sooner for him. But all in all, I don't think it would cost much to get him. I don't even know if there's really much of a market for him. Now, if you like today's show, make sure you go ahead and share it on social media. We've got some legends out there. Joshua Miller, for starters, some other people who I'm forgetting right now. But thank you to everyone who shares our videos over on Twitter, tags me. I give shout-outs to those of you that do. We'll do shout-outs for everyone that shares our recent videos on Monday. Chat Sports is giving the whole crew the weekend off, so do not have the ability to pull the most recent shares on Twitter, but we'll round them all up for you guys on Monday. Moving on to target number 4, another receiving type back, J.D. McKissic. He is essentially a wide receiver who lines up in the backfield. He has very little run in terms of being a in-between the tackles type runner, but he could be someone to watch for, along with Justin Jackson. Now, he was with the Chargers for quite some time. He was with the Lions most recently, and Jackson is a name that might be signed by the Browns, so keep an eye on him. The reason why Justin Jackson is sort of on the radar a bit more than other players is Noah Schaefer, who I know he's not some big J, but hey, this is a Browns news and rumors channel. We'll at least put this out there and let you guys make your own opinions about it. Tweeted out, the Browns have been in contact with longtime Chargers and former Lions free agent running back Justin Jackson. The career backup has never eclipsed 500 yards, but has a career average of 4.9 yards per carry and is exceptional in the passing game. Over the last 4 seasons, he has been primarily a receiving back. You can see his rushing yards have never been all that high, but that's perfectly fine with me. I think the Browns plan on running Nick Chubb somewhat into the ground this upcoming season. Like, they're not stealing attempts away from the ground game. They're just allocating them differently. If Kareem Hunt got 123 carries last year, well, Nick Chubb is probably going to get an extra 20 or 30 more carries in 2023, as they're going to lean more on him for downs 1 and 2 and really just have a receiving back on 3rd down for obvious passing situations. The only thing that I'm not sold on, or I'm not sure about rather, is do the Browns think they need a running back, or do they know they need another running back? The difference between those two is, are they waiting to see how OTAs look? for John Kelly and Jerome Ford. And if they're not impressed by those guys after OTAs are done, they'll go sign a running back? Or do they already have their minds made up that Jerome Ford and John Kelly cannot be the rest of the running back room, and they were looking to draft a running back, but ultimately not a good one fell to them at a round they like, and they didn't want to force a running back pick, so now they go to plan B, which is signing a veteran running back because they didn't get one in the draft. That is the only thing I'm unsure about. So they want to wait and see how OTAs turn out, and if Jerome Ford can sell them on being RB2, or have they already made up their minds and now they're just trying to decide who they want to sign. So let me know in the comment section below who you want the Browns to get. Drop a name down in the comment section for who you would like to see the Browns sign in free agency. Make sure to follow me on Twitter if you are not already. I'm always talking Brownies over at Matthew Petey. Thank you to everyone who watched today's show for hanging out with us, and we'll see everyone later.